Hokage Saga, Invincible Power by Sacrificing Emotional Intelligence. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 136. Shiraishi walked out of the cemetery. Shiraishi. A voice sounded. Shiraishi turned around. Classmate with a big forehead, long time no see. Sakura heard this name she didn't like to hear again, but now, Sakura didn't care about it. And Sakura knew very well that Shiraishi said that Shiraishi would not change it. Shiraishi, Sasuke him, are you okay now? Sakura's mood was low. The changes in Konoha have a great impact on Sakura. Naruto was gone, and Sakura didn't really care. But Sasuke left the village, and Sakura cared. In addition, Kakashi seems to have been abandoned during this time. The whole Kakashiban, all of a sudden, seemed to disperse. Himself became a single person. No tasks, no partners. Everything becomes boring. Very good. Shiraishi said, now Sasuke is learning medical ninjutsu-related things with Tsunade's senior sister. What about Shiraishi? I'm the same, but I've learned the limits of the current stage, and if I continue to learn, I will have to wait until half a year later. So when will Sasuke come back? I don't know. Shiraishi shook his head and said, Sasuke is learning things too slowly, who knows when he will learn. Sakura. Unconsciously, Sakura had followed Shiraishi to the gate of Shiraishi's courtyard. Sakura, do you have any more questions? What's wrong? If you don't have it, go back, it's not early. Sakura glanced at the sky. It's still early. However, this did restore Sakura's spirit a little. Sakura sensed that Shiraishi was still the same as before, unchanged. Sakura found some familiarity. After the change in Konoha, it made Sakura feel very strange. I still have some questions. Sakura didn't leave. Shiraishi stared at Sakura suspiciously. Sakura, don't you want to stay and eat? Forget it, let's rub the rice. Baisha waved his hand, looked inside, and said, Wormwood, prepare an extra one at noon. Yes, Shiraishi-sama. Find a place to sit for yourself. If someone else said something like that, Sakura would definitely feel embarrassed and leave immediately. But Shiraishi said it, and Sakura felt normal. And I don't feel anything. Tsunade-sama, what kind of person is he? A young old lady. Young old lady? Yes. Shiraishi said, senior sister Tsunade's age is similar to Jiraiya, and the big snake pill is not much younger than the third generation, so it must be an old lady. It's just that it doesn't look that old, because of some special ninjutsu. Oh, that's a woman. Sakura was envious of this, so she was a little dissatisfied with Shiraishi's tone. What's wrong with the woman? It's not very good that Tsunade-sama is like this. If I can stay like Tsunade-sama when I am this old, I will be satisfied with everything. Hypocrisy. Baisha shook his head and said, obviously she is an old lady, and she has to disguise herself as a young woman, which is called hypocrisy. You don't understand. I don't understand? Shiraishi had a threatening look in his eyes. Do you still want to ask questions? Sakura immediately confessed and changed the subject. Shiraishi, Tsunade-sama around, is there anyone else besides Sasuke now? And a mute. Mute? Who is it? How big and pretty? A middle-aged woman. Shiraishi said, average. Oh. Sakura was immediately relieved. That's good, that's good. However, senior sister Tsunade often haunts various casinos, and among these casinos, there are many beautiful girls. Because of the name of the big fat sheep in the Tsunade world, there should be many people who take the initiative to approach Sasuke. Hearing this, Sakura immediately became nervous. It won't. Of course. So what do I do? In Sakura's mind, involuntarily, some people, beautiful women, surrounded Sasuke, and then Sasuke failed to control the scene. This is too scary for Sakura. Nope. I can't let that happen. But what can I do? A hint of bitterness appeared on Sakura's face. With his own strength, it is difficult to leave the village alone. He will encounter all kinds of dangers, and he is just a small patient, and he can't cope with the complicated world outside. Can I find Sasuke? And after finding Sasuke, how to follow Sasuke? Would Tsunade-sama agree? In an instant, countless questions flashed through Sakura's mind. Sakura lowered her arms weakly. Shiraishi, can you help me? Help you with what? Don't let other women get close to Sasuke. Shiraishi thought for a moment. I thought of a good idea. What is it? Sakura's eyes lit up. I saw a male orange cat before. Because of attracting bees and attracting butterflies, it harmed many little female cats, and its owner suffered from it, and was constantly held accountable, claimed, and then, in a fit of anger, made a move. A knife castrated the male orange cat. Since then, the male orange cat has not been able to attract any little female cats anymore. Shiraishi looked at Sakura and encouraged, Sakura, if you are worried that Sasuke will get close to other women, then castrate Sasuke so that Sasuke can't get close to those women. Sakura. No EQ event trigger, talent plus 13. The corners of Sakura's eyes twitched constantly, and several black lines appeared on her forehead. What shit method is this? That's right, by doing so, Sasuke really can't get close to other women. But I can't get close to myself anymore. What to do with the rest of my life? Be a living widow? And Sasuke would hate himself. No, you can't do this. Why, I think I can try it. Absolutely not. Sakura said categorically. That's a shame. Shiraishi showed a somewhat disappointed expression. Phosphorus poked its head out from the inside. Shiraishi-sama, lunch is ready. Okay, come right away. Shiraishi washed his hands before entering the restaurant. Look back. Sakura has disappeared. Ran away? Shiraishi shook his head. Then let's eat it for the two of us, Wormwood. Yes. In the evening, it became dark. A figure slowly walked towards the courtyard of the white stone. Bang bang. Wormwood, go open the door. You are? Xiangfos did not know Tuanzo. Previously, Tuanzong was only a behind-the-scenes personnel. By the time Danzo was promoted to Hokage, Koto had already left Konoha with Shiraishi. Even Tuanzang's name, Xiangfos, has never heard of it. I only know that the newly appointed Hokage is the 5th-generation Hokage, and I don't know the specific name. I'm Tuanzo, I'm looking for Shiraishi. Xiangfos hurriedly reported. Shiraishi-sama, a one-eyed old man who said his name is Tuanzang, is looking for you. Tuanzong. Even Shiraishi, a little ghost, is so rude? Episode 137, Shiraishi walked out. Naruto-sama. Xiangfos was stunned, glanced at Tuanzong, and quickly ran into the house. But he called this person a one-eyed old man, and he didn't know if this old man remembered revenge. It would be very easy for a Hokage to think about himself. After all, he is not from Konoha, but from Kusanagi village, and he has a legal identity in Konoha through some special means. And even the people of Konoha, if they are targeted by the Hokage, life will not be very good. Shiraishi. Tuanzo nodded and sat down on his own. Finally back, how is the situation on Tsunade's side? Very good. Shiraishi said, senior sister Tsunade still lingers between casinos, but now that there is more of Sasuke as a disciple, it is a little distracted, and the money lost should not be as much as before. Tsunade, she has no plans to return to the village? Nope. Tuanzong breathed a sigh of relief, but in his eyes, there was some disappointment. The position of Hokage, Tsunade, can be regarded as a competitor to Danzo. If Tsunade comes back before Danzo has officially succeeded him, then there is a high probability that Danzo will lose to Tsunade, and Danzo will definitely not want Tsunade to come back at that time. But now, Danzo has secured the position of Hokage. Then if Tsunade comes back, there will be no such problem. Danzo needs the power of Tsunade. In terms of strength, one of the 3 ninjas, on origin, the granddaughter of a generation of Hokage, and also a medical ninja. It can definitely provide a lot of help to Konoha at this time. Now Konoha is very short of people in this area. Even if Danzo moved the people from the previous route to the table, it was still a little inadequate. Shiraishi, do you have any opinion on the situation in the village? Nope. And what about your plans? Plan? Shiraishi thought for a moment and said, just stay in the village, don't go anywhere, do some small tasks or something, that's it? How else? Shiraishi said, I am a disciple of the previous Hokage, as the saying goes, once the son of heaven and a courtier, a former dynasty figure like me will definitely not be used. Naruto-sama, you don't look like a generous person, your heart is small. No EQ event trigger, talent plus 14. Tuanzong. Who told you? What the teacher said before. Tuanzong sighed and said, that's a misunderstanding of me by Hinata, I'm not a careful person, it's just that I'm in my previous position, I have to be careful. Now, I'm the Hokage of Konoha, and I want to consider the interests of the entire village as a whole. I don't care what background or origin the person before me was, as long as he is from Konoha, has worked hard and contributed to Konoha, and has strength and ability, I will be important to him. But I don't think Kakashi-senpai and Asuma-senpai are like this. Shiraishi said, it seems that the two of them are very idle now, and I heard rumors that Naruto-sama, you are deliberately suppressing the people who befriended the teacher before and cultivating your own power. With their strength, they can actually get important. The corner of Tuanzang's eyes twitched. Suppress dissidents, that's for sure. However, since Danzo came to Shiraishi, he wanted to encircle Shiraishi. Unlike Kakashi Asuma, these two people, one is deeply influenced by the ape flying sun chop, and the other is the son of the ape flying sun chop. Tuanzo wants to change them, which is basically impossible. But Shiraishi, Danzo felt that it could be changed. As a disciple of Ape Flying Sun Chopper, he did not get along with Ape Flying Sun Chopper for a long time. Naturally, there won't be too deep a connection. But at this time, Shiraishi grabbed this topic, which made Tuanzong a little uncomfortable. Do you want to admit that you are really suppressing dissidents and want to win over Baishar? Then do you want the face of this Hokage? Shiraishi, this guy, can't you really see it? Tuanzong knew that Shiraishi's personality was problematic, and he was very different from normal people, so he was a little shocked and didn't know if Shiraishi said this on purpose. The two of them, there is a reason. Tuanzong explained, Asma is experiencing the loss of his father, I can't arrange a job for him, and letting Asma be quiet by himself will be a better choice for him. And Kakashi's words, originally Kakashi's task at the current stage was to teach the 7th class. But Naruto was taken away by that renegade Shinobu from Jiraiya. Sasuke follows Tsunade. There is only one Sakura left, and I will arrange it for Kakashi when he fills the members of the 7th class. Shiraishi nodded. So it is. How about I join the 7th class? This is absolutely not okay. Tuanzong said subconsciously. Why? Certainly Danzo wouldn't allow such a thing to happen and let Shiraishi and Kakashi get close. So is this still wooing Shiraishi? It's all about pushing Shiraishi out. With Shiraishi's strength, and still do the same thing as those lower shinobi, that's too wasteful. Shiraishi, your current strength has reached the upper shinobi level, only because of age and seniority, you have not been able to promote to upper shinobi. But at least you can have the qualifications of Naka Ninja. Tuanzong paused and said, in this way, when I am busy during this time I will give you a ninja level promotion, and then you can freely form a team. What do you think of Shiraishi like this? You don't need to follow any orders from Shainin, it belongs to me. Shiraishi hesitated. The members of the team, which ones can I pick? I don't want too spicy chicken, you can choose this white stone slowly until you are satisfied. Good. A smile appeared at the corner of Tuanzang's mouth. Well, it's not early today, I'll go first. Go slowly. Shiraishi did not get up to send it off. After a long time, Tuanzong glanced back. For Shiraishi, Danzo is very concerned. There is a view circulating in the normal ninja world, that is, talent is greater than effort, and the blood limit is greater than talent, and people who do not have blood succession limit, people will not think that he has any future. But Shiraishi is different. Shiraishi, who had just taken the Chunin exam, crushed the Great Snake Pill. What is this concept? This is no longer a concept of genius at all. It's a real strongman. The theory of the blood succession limit was useless when placed on Shiraishi's body. Danzo didn't want Shiraishi to be on his side. One is that Shiraishi is really strong enough. The other is that Danzo feels that it can affect Shiraishi. Tuanzo has such certainty. Therefore, it will have a relatively large tolerance for Shiraishi. Just now, if someone had said to Tuanzong, Tuanzong would have chopped him earlier. Episode 138. The regiment hid away, waved his sleeves, and took nothing with him, on the contrary, left a lot of talent points. Shiraishi is not afraid of Tuantiang now, so if he wants to say anything, he will say it directly. Shiraishi understands this world very well. Strength is everything. Without saying a word, more ninjas fled. I didn't see them doing badly, all of them jumping alive. Even if there was a bad encounter afterwards, it was not because of the defection. Shiraishi can now enjoy Kasakoba's talent points, so ninjas. Soon, Shiraishi's Naka Shinobi promotion notice came down. Enter the Hokage office. There are not many people. Tuanzong, Sunset Red, and 2 new shinobi, Oil Grow Root, Mountain Stroke. To sum up, all of them are weaker than Shiraishi. Shiraishi, in the Zonin exam, you performed excellently, and we all agree that you have reached the level of Zonin, so from today onwards, you are a real Zonin. Ninja file, I've revised it. As a benefit of promotion to shinobi, you can choose 3 ninjutsu. What do you have in mind? Ninjutsu? On the Book of Seals? No, limit 1 B-level task and 2 C-level tasks. Shiraishi shook his head, revealing a disappointed expression. Then forget it, it's not interesting. Everyone. Tuanzong coughed dryly and said, Shiraishi, don't you think about it, you don't know much ninjutsu now. According to my understanding, Hinata didn't teach you much, right? I didn't teach, but I was given 3 ninjutsu, a water dragon bite burst, a fire dragon, a dive in the soil, and I improved the last 2 ninjutsu a little, which is enough. This thing, enough is enough, I don't want to learn so much and waste my time. Yamanaka Kaze suddenly interjected and said, Shiraishi, aren't you? What kind of ninjutsu? You can learn it just by reading it once. How is this a waste of time? Are the rumors false? Tuanzong subconsciously said something bad. Shiraishi looked at Yamanaka stroke, his brows furrowed. Are you questioning me? It just feels weird. Yamanaka shrugged. Yamanaka Wind is indeed questioning Shiraishi, and for those rumors of Shiraishi, Yamanaka Wind does not believe it, and it is impossible for humans to be so strong. And as for defeating the big snake pill or something, Yamanaka felt that it must be because the ape flying sun slashed and seriously injured the big snake pill. But what made Yamanaka even more dissatisfied was Tuanzang's attitude. As one of the few, under Tuanzang, who has received the attention of Tuanzang, Yamanaka Wind's thinking is slightly freer. After all, Yamanaka Feng is a member of the mountain family, and Tuanzang will not be too excessive. Similar to others, Tuanzang doesn't care much about their life or death. It is equivalent to that the mountain wind is a more valued chess piece under the regiment. So, Yamanaka became jealous. A piece of garbage, I really can't imagine what a real genius looks like. Shiraishi retracted his gaze. I don't blame you, it's not your fault, it's my fault. Shiraishi was mistaken. But after hearing these two words, Yamanaka Feng became even more angry. The two emotions of anger and jealousy are intertwined. I'm trash? Yamanaka Kaze's face turned cold and said, Aoki Shiraishi, at your age, I have already joined the command of Lord Tuanzang and have carried out countless missions. Moreover, at the current age, the promotion to Shainin, not to say more than everyone, but more than the vast majority of people, is certain. Shiraishi shook his head. Seriously, I'm quite curious about the fact that you are Shainin, because, according to my judgment, your strength is far from the standard of Shainin, far worse than Kakashi's predecessor or something. Maybe it's because Konoha has suffered turmoil and the bar has become lower. No EQ event trigger, talent +4. Yamanaka Wind's face turned red. Nonsense. Enough. Danzo interrupted the mountain stroke. Wind in the mountains, quiet. Yes, Danzo-sama. The respect and fear for Tuanzang forcibly suppressed the mountain stroke. Shiraishi, since you don't want to learn ninjutsu, then this benefit will be compensated to you in other ways. It's nothing, you can go back first. Good. Shiraishi nodded and walked out of the Hokage building. Sunset Red followed. Shiraishi. Sunset Red Sr. Shiraishi, you shouldn't have been like that just now. Sunset Hung glanced back and said, I'm not saying that what you did is wrong, but it's not good for you to do that. Yamanaka Stroke and Oil Girl Root can be promoted to Shainin. We all know that it is because of Tuanzo-sama, but the two of them are the henchmen of Tuanzo-sama. And the relationship between us and Master Tuanzang is relatively weak. Offending the mountain stroke, it is not very good for ourselves. Shiraishi shook his head. Senior Shirihong, I just told the truth. Yesterday Master Tuanzo came to me, saying that he is fair and treats everyone equally, so he won't lie to me, right? Did Master Tuanzo look for you last night? That's right. Sunset's red eyes flickered. Can you tell me what you said? Just said about my promotion to Naka Shinobu, and also asked me to form a squad, by the way, and said that I was going to add a little manpower to the 7th class of Kakashi Senior after a while. Sunset Red showed a thoughtful expression. Senior Sunset Hong, do you hate Master Tuanzo very much? No. Shiraishi said, in fact, it is normal to hate it, this person, gloomy, old and ugly, still a one-eyed dragon, worse than the old man. Shiraishi, don't say this. Sunset Hong hurriedly vigilant and glanced around. Hokage building. Yamanaka Wind, do you know what you're doing wrong? Yes, please Naruto-sama punish. Yamanaka lowered his head. You should know that Shiraishi is the person I want to woo, and what good is it for you to compete with Shiraishi? Have you ceased to be loyal to me? Yamanaka Stroke's face turned pale. No, Master Tuanzo, absolutely not. And? Tuanzang said, Shiraishi's strength is indeed above you, Shiraishi's defeat of the Great Snake Pill is real, only Shiraishi is alone, and no one else helps. Even if you two go together, they are not Shiraishi's opponents. Yamanaka Wind and Oil Girl Take-Gen looked at each other, and they both saw the disbelief in each other's eyes. But for Tuanzang, they did not dare to question it. Today's matter, so be it, I won't punish you. However, don't take the initiative to provoke Shiraishi in the future. I need to let Shiraishi be on my side and be my man. Understand? Yamanaka nodded. Understood, Danzo-sama. Call me Hokage. Episode 139, but, Naruto-sama, I see that Shiraishi doesn't seem to have any respect for you. You don't know, Shiraishi is like this to everyone. Tuanzang said, whether it is me, the previous ape flying sun, or someone else, maybe this is the price of Shiraishi's strong talent, but it's not important, what matters is that Shiraishi can be used for me. You guys go out first. Yes. Yamanaka Wind and Oil Lady take roots and leave. A dark part walked in. Naruto-sama, I heard just now that Shiraishi doubted what you said to him last night, whether you just lied to him, but I didn't hear the next few words. I see. Tuanzo waved his hand. Continue to spy on it. The members of the Dark Department leave. Tuanzang looked out the window. Is it because the strength of the mountain stroke and the oil lady to take the route is too weak in Shiraishi's opinion? Forcibly promoting them to Shang Ninja is indeed a bit too hasty. Others may feel the same way, but Shiraishi will say what he thinks directly. Tuanzang's eyes lit up. Perhaps I can use Shiraishi to analyze what those people think of me. Others will hide, but Shiraishi will not hide. This is also the advantage of Shiraishi. Shiraishi returned home, and Xiangfos trotted up to greet him. Shiraishi-sama. Go prepare lunch, I'll be alone. Yes. Shiraishi sat in the courtyard, thinking about the situation of the team members. Strength? Personality? Appearance? Shiraishi shook his head. None of this matters. Talent points, that's the most important thing. If only Mizuki could be recruited into my squad. Then find 2 players who can provide the same talent points as Mizuki. Shiraishi didn't care what Konoha had developed into, after all, Konoha was already out of order. Shiraishi only focuses on talent points. Collect 10,000 talent points and break the next stage of the limiter. In that case, Shiraishi will be stronger. Now Shiraishi has reached the limit of the current limiter. It is certainly much stronger than these ordinary ninjas. But when it comes to large tubes, immortal patterns, etc., Shiraishi is still a little worse. The next day, a man came over and volunteered. Irika-sensei? Irika gave an awkward smile. Shiraishi, can I go in and sit? Of course. Irika-sensei, is there something going on? I heard that Shiraishi is recruiting players, so I wanted to give it a try. Irika-sensei, you don't do ninja school anymore? No more. Irika sighed and said, after Danzo-sama took office, the ninja school was reformed, and many teachers were removed from their status as teachers and replaced with new ones. This is easy to understand. Teachers have a great influence on students, especially in terms of ideas. If Danzo wants to control Konoha, then he must start with the ninja school and change the atmosphere of Konoha. Turn the ape flying worship into the Tuanzo worship. Then before to the teacher, it must not be available. So Irika lost his job. Now it has been reduced to the point where even Shiraishi, a newly promoted Zhong Shinobi, is inferior. Danzo also gave Shiraishi the opportunity to form a team. And Irika, simply vacant, does not want anywhere. There is no task at all, as if it does not exist. On Kakashi's side, Danzo will be a little more scrupulous. But Irika, Tuanzo, will not be scrupulous. A medium forbearance, the strength is not strong, Tuanzong does not care at all. Why Irika would want to join Shiraishi's team? One is because Irika understands Shiraishi, and Shiraishi's talent and strength are very strong. It is not a shame to join Shiraishi's team as a Naka shinobi. Age or whatever, it's all secondary. When Kakashi was younger, he also brought many older players. The other is that Irika doesn't have much choice. Or join Shiraishi's team and become a quest-type ninja again. Or give up completely and basically lose your ninja status. Shiraishi was thinking. The talent points provided by Irika are definitely not comparable to Mizuki, and they can only be said to be decent. However, Mizuki is a rare species. In a short period of time, it is unlikely that Shiraishi wants to find Mizuki's level. Shiraishi, can't you? Irika's face showed a look of disappointment. Shiraishi said, Irika-sensei, your strength is indeed weaker, Irika. However, it is not impossible. Shiraishi said, I am going to find 3 people, one of them, I already have an idea, but there is one left, I don't have any ideas, Irika-sensei, can you help me find a suitable one? I'll go help Shiraishi, you find another person? Yes, but there will be a test, I made this clear in advance. No problem. Irika quickly nodded and said, are there any requirements for strength? Do you want to endure in the middle, or do you want to endure it? All right. Good. Glancing at Irika's disappearing back. Shiraishi retracted his gaze. Shiraishi was surprised by Irika's unsolicited visit. After all, Irika used to be Shiraishi's teacher. As a teacher, join a team of students, the student is the captain and the teacher is the team member. The average person will definitely not be able to get by in face. Irika's ability to do this proves that he is not an ordinary person. It's getting weirder. Shiraishi shook his head. I'm looking for a ninja named Mizuki. Shiraishi found a dark part. Mizuki? That's right, I met him when I was back in Konoha, at a restaurant in Shikubacho, and at first I thought he had escaped from prison, but he said he was released, if nothing else, he should have arrived in Konoha by now. The dark part was silent for a moment. Mizuki has never been released. So he actually escaped from prison? Yes. But this is not right, someone escaped from prison, it is a very serious matter. Why do you seem to have heard me talk about Mizuki, only to know that Mizuki escaped from prison? Dark member. Konoha is too busy during this time, manpower, time is very limited, some places can't be cared for. Shiraishi, thank you for the information, we will capture Mizuki immediately. The members of the Dark Department turned and prepared to leave. Wait. Is there anything else? After you catch Mizuki, bring it to me, I want him to be my team. But Mizuki is a fugitive. It's Naruto-sama who said, anyone I can recruit, not to say what Naruto-sama said, it's not a word. I'll go ask Naruto-sama. Tuanzo frowned. Mizuki? It's just a small role, it doesn't matter much, Shiraishi wants it, just give it to him, yes, Naruto-sama. When Mizuki cautiously came out of the doorway, he saw the dark members in all directions, and he looked confused. Episode 140, How did you find me? Mizuki was a little surprised that the dark ninja found him, but what was even more surprised was that so many dark divisions came at once. At a glance, there are at least a dozen. When did you become a big man who needs to be paid so much attention to? Aren't you a middle ninja? Is it a shinobi? The same title figure as Jiraiya? Mizuki, come with us. Mizuki glanced back, the prescription, Mizuki has found it, as long as the medicinal materials are matched, you can make the potion, and then obtain the power of the spell seal. But now, Mizuki is surrounded here, and it is impossible to get out of the encirclement at all. As a last resort, Mizuki had to follow these dark ninjas and leave. All the way to entering Konoha. Mizuki originally thought that he would be taken into the dark part or the route, and it was unlikely that he would be taken to the Hokage building, but Mizuki found that these were not and was taken to the residential area himself. In front of a somewhat familiar courtyard, stopped. Isn't this Shiraishi's yard? Mizuki's brows furrowed, feeling inexplicable. Shiraishi, I brought you the man. Okay, come right away. Shiraishi pushed open the door and saw Mizuki among the ninjas in the dark and smiled. This is Mizuki, Shiraishi, Mizuki is still a sinful body, since you want him to be your team, then you must take good care of him and don't disappoint Naruto-sama. Don't worry, I will discipline him well. Mizuki. What is it? Disciplining me? The dark ninja looked at Mizuki again. Mizuki, you should have been imprisoned for your crime, and the punishment was more severe than before, but now Konoha is the time to hire people, and Shiraishi is willing to vouch for you, so you don't have to go to prison. But if you commit anything again, then Konoha's treatment of you will be shooting. I hope you remember this and stop messing around, understand? Before Mizuki came to his senses, Muran nodded. The dark ninja leaves. Mizuki, come in. Mizuki stared at Shiraishi. Now Mizuki has figured out a little, the reason why he was targeted by the dark part is because of Shiraishi. Originally, a small character like himself, Konoha probably didn't care. Just let yourself defect outside. After all, even Jiraiya, the big snake pill, this kind of big rebellion, Konoha has not solved. It was Shiraishi, on a whim, who wanted to form a squad, but on the other hand, Shiraishi actually took a fancy to himself and wanted to become one of his team members, which led to the dispatch of the dark ninja. At this moment, Mizuki really wanted to ask himself, how can he Why does Shiraishi look at himself? When did you become so bullhide? A thick resentment arose in Mizuki's heart. However, Mizuki doesn't know how to blame Shiraishi? Do you mean that others can afford to look up to themselves, and they have to blame others? Not to mention, Mizuki didn't dare at all. Shiraishi, who had just graduated from the ninja school, Mizuki, was no match for him. After Shiraishi's achievements, Mizuki heard a lot about it after leaving Shukubacho. First shined in the Chuninja exam, a squad of one person, eliminated dozens of ninjas, and also hung those captives from trees, earning the title of a Shrike of Konoha. Later, in the incident of the invasion of Konoha by Orochimaru and Sun Hidden Village, he defeated Orochimaru. Orochimaru, what kind of character is that? It is a figure worshipped by Mizuki. The source of the power of the Mizuki spell seal. Suddenly, Mizuki felt that the spell seal potion formula he had mastered was a little unpleasant. Shiraishi, why did you choose me as your teammate? Not a teammate, it's a player. Shiraishi corrected Mizuki's title and said, I'm the captain, you're a member of the team, I just got promoted to Naka Shinobi, and Hokage asked me to form my own squad, but I don't know many people, those subordinates basically have their own teams. Shainin, it's impossible to be my teammate, so I think of you. Mizuki, you are a middle ninja, not very good in strength, but you will return it in the end. And, I know you. Adjust it well, you can still use the kind. That's why I thought of you first. Mizuki. This evaluation, Mizuki did not know what to say. But Mizuki understood. Because Shiraishi doesn't know many people, if there is no suitable one, he will think of himself. In Shiraishi's eyes, he is not much different from a tool. Mizuki was relieved and relieved, Mizuki was worried that he had something being targeted by Shiraishi. Now it seems that Shiraishi's idea is simple. But then, Mizuki was a little unhappy. That is, why can he only be a tool person? You heard the words of those dark ninjas just now, Now you are completely under my supervision. If you don't obey my orders, I can kill you at any time. I hope you can be obedient. Mizuki nodded quickly. Yes. Very good, then you can go with me to meet another team member now. Who is the other team member? You'll know when you get there. Shiraishi walked out of the courtyard with Mizuki. Mizuki looked around. All the while there was a training ground. Shiraishi stopped, and it was empty. But soon, 2 footsteps sounded. Mizuki quickly looked over. A figure walked in. Mizuki? Irika? Looking at each other, both of them had mixed feelings. Irika-sensei, this is? Irika introduced the person behind him and said, this is Sai. It's a poor kid, but the strength is very good. Good captain. Shiraishi glanced at Sai. Do you have albinism? It's not contagious, is it? Sajui. Captain, I'm not sick. Irika patted Sajui's shoulder and said, Sai, don't care, Shiraishi has no malice, and you'll know when you get used to getting along with Shiraishi in the future. Immediately, Irika looked at Mizuki. Mizuki, long time no see. Long time no see. Irika heard Mizuki's dissatisfaction with himself from Naruto, and although Irika didn't feel wrong, in fact Irika did not do anything wrong, but in the face of Mizuki, Irika always felt a little weak. It may be a shadow left over for a long time. Mizuki's impact on Irika's use of companion PUA. Mizuki, on the other hand, felt embarrassed. He said so many bad things about Irika and became a criminal again. Mizuki wanted to have face in front of Irika the most. But now there is no face at all. Okay, then we'll have all the members of our squad now. Captain, me. Team members, Mizuki, Irika, Sai. It's alright? Episode 141, Mizuki was stunned for a moment. Irika, are you too? But didn't you become a teacher at a ninja school? Irika smiled wryly. My position was revoked, and Naruto-sama chose a more suitable teacher. Mizuki's mind moved, and he understood. Suddenly, the mood became complicated. A little schadenfreude, and a little sympathy. Morning. It's nothing. Irika said, the job of a ninja school teacher is less dangerous, but it is not easy, and it is not easy to deal with those students. Moreover, if you do it for a long time, it is easy to wear down your mind. That's fine now. Irika looked at Shiraishi and said, Shiraishi will be a good captain. Mizuki fell silent. Why did Mizuki instigate Naruto to steal the Book of Seals? It's because of dissatisfaction, jealousy, and ambition. But where does this jealousy come from? A large part of it is from Irika. Mizuki watched as Irika, who was not as good as himself before, mixed better than himself. This contrast made Mizuki very cold. But now, Irika's teacher position is gone. Like himself, he became a member of the White Rock Squad. The 2 Naka shinobi do not even have the right to form their own squads, and they have to join other people's squads. And Shiraishi is still younger than them. Although it comes to ninja things, the master comes first. Stronger than Shiraishi, the whole Konoha may not exist. However, people will still consider other factors after all. I don't have a choice, after all, I am just a criminal. Irika, on the other hand, actually has other options. Mizuki suddenly realized that Irika was indeed stronger than himself in terms of courage. Shiraishi nodded and said, since our squad has been established, let's give the squad a name. Usually the name of the squad is named after the captain. Irika said, it's like Kakashiban, Makaban, it's so ordinary. Shiraishi said, I decided, let's call it the Root Squad. Root? Mizuki and Irika looked at each other, and the corners of their eyes twitched at the same time. The word root, people who understand it are very concerned. Named Root Squad, isn't it really provoking Tuanzong? But the two were not sure if Shiraishi knew of the existence of the root tissue. After all, this is a secret organization, and only a few people know about it. For civilians, it is not clear. And Shiraishi's time to become a ninja is not long. Shiraishi, why? Because this is Konoha, for trees, what is most important, of course, is the root, right? Our squad, with my existence, must be Konoha's strongest squad. That's called the Root Squad, what's wrong? So be it, I decide. Shiraishi continued, then we are going to give each of them a codename now. Take the part of the tree as a codename. I am the root. Irika hesitated. Shiraishi, did you really decide? Decided, that's it. Okay. Irika nodded and said, then I'll make a tree trunk. I'm not very capable, but I will do my best to dredge the squad, together with the members of the squad. Shiraishi looked at Mizuki. Mizuki thought for a moment. Then I am the leaf. Sai? Twigs. Shiraishi nodded, showed a smile, and said, very good, then our squad will be officially established today. Name, Root Squad, Captain codename, Tree Root, member codenames, Trunks, Leaves, Branches. Tomorrow we will find a task to try and grind it out. Not long after, the news of the formation of the Root Squad reached the Hokage building. Tuanzong heard the report from the Dark Department and fell silent. Now the Roots are gone. This is the power that Tuanzong has managed for himself, and now that Danzo has succeeded Hokage, there is no need to make so many messy institutions and directly integrate with the Dark Department. Mixed in and took control of the dark parts. A trace of resentment surfaced in Tuanzang's heart. Naruto-sama, you say, did Shiraishi do it on purpose? It's really hard not to think so. The Front Foot Group has just dissolved the Root organization. Now Shiraishi has formed a Root Squad. Is this really not a mockery? Probably not. Danzo said, there are not many people who know about the information of the Root organization, and Shiraishi probably did not know the existence of the Root organization before, and from the information you reported, Shiraishi thought of it from Konoha's name. That's reasonable. The Dark Ninja hesitated. Naruto-sama, there is a saying, I don't know if I should say it or not. Say. Naruto-sama, I have been under you for a long time, and I am loyal to you. You didn't do things like this before, and you wouldn't have cared so much about it, even make excuses for others. But why, when you get to Shiraishi, Naruto-sama, you are like this? Shiraishi, is there anything special? Even if he is strong, can he alone still fight against our entire Konoha? Tuanzong was stunned for a moment. After thinking about it, I felt as if I was indeed a little too tolerant of Shiraishi, just as the Dark Ninja said. If others did such a thing, would they be so tolerant? No. With an order, directly hacked to death. Why? You go out first. Tuanzong waved his hand and fell silent. It's because in my heart, in the first place, I didn't see Shiraishi as a threat. Shiraishi's character gave me this idea. I decided that Shiraishi was a stunned blue, no emotional intelligence, and simple thinking. But Yamanaka was actually right last time. What if Shiraishi was disguised? Tuanzong's skepticism grew. Shiraishi's strength is indeed very strong, and his talent is also very high. But it's not impossible to deal with. After all, he is just a person after all. After the Dark Ninja left, he quietly entered an alley. A money bag fell. Trouble. You're welcome. A face was revealed from the alley. It was the Mountain Stroke. Humph, competing with me for favors? I am the person that Master Tuanzong trusts the most. There is only one, not one. The next day. Shiraishi took the task. That's it? Iruka and Mizuki saw the mission, and they were a little incredulous. Go to the village east stream to pick up garbage? Captain, isn't that right? Why would we take on such a task? This is a task that only a recent graduate shinobi can do. Iruka and Mizuki couldn't understand. Even Sajui, looking at Shiraishi, had a strange look in his eyes. Shiraishi glanced at the three. What do you know? This mission is suitable for a squad like us. But it's normal that you can't see it. That's why I'm the captain, and you're just the players. Just follow the order. Mizuki Trio. Episode 142. For Shiraishi's strength, Mizuki and the three did not doubt it. The existence that can hang the big snake pill can only be looked up to them. Even if you work hard, you may not reach the level of Shiraishi in this life. But this thing, envy does not come. Iruka knows a little about Shiraishi's training, very little, only at critical moments. He may temporarily hold Buddha's feet and train hard for a few days, most of the time, much easier than ninjas of the same age. But even so, Shiraishi's strength is still far ahead of everyone. What Iruka considered before was that with Shiraishi's strength, Shiraishi's squad would definitely rise, and it wouldn't be long before Shiraishi would be promoted to Shainin. After all, Shiraishi's strength had long reached the Shainin level. It's just a matter of poor merit. The prospects are bright. But now Iruka realized a problem, and that was that he ignored Shiraishi's character. Shiraishi's ideas are not the same as ordinary people. There will be a set of their own ideas. It cannot be said that Shiraishi's thinking is wrong. But it's not the same as ordinary people. Let's go. Shiraishi led the team in front. Mizuki, Iruka, Sai. The three men followed Shiraishi and came to the creek east of the village. In the stream, a lot of garbage accumulates. Mainly villagers living near the stream, who have little quality, throw household garbage into the stream. This will have an impact on the water source of the entire village. Therefore, it needs to be cleaned up in time. But the stream is too wide, the water is too rapid, and it will be dangerous for ordinary people to clean up the garbage. So it became a ninja's task. The same are all shinobu who have just graduated, and the teacher leads the team to carry out tasks here. It's kind of an introductory thing. Before the Shiraishi 4 came, there were already many people in the stream. This is a newly graduated shinobi. One Naka shinobi led the team, and 3 Shimo shinobi stared at the 4 Shiraishi curiously. Teacher, who are they? What do you have to do? Nakashinobu shook his head. I don't know. I know those two Naka shinobi, one is Irika, a former ninja school teacher, and the other is Mizuki, who was arrested for committing a crime and now appears here, probably released. Two left. Nakashinobu looked at Shiraishi and suddenly remembered. It's Konoha's Shrike. Shrike? It's Aoki Shiraishi. The eyes of the three shinobi lit up. Shiraishi's name, they had heard. Is that the genius with the strongest talent in all generations? No matter what kind of ninjutsu, you can learn at once and easily beat Uchiha Aoki Shiraishi? That's right. Teacher, you and Aoki Shiraishi, who is more powerful? Another student retorted. Nonsense, of course the teacher is a medium forbearance. A wry smile appeared on Nakanin's face and said, Aoki Shiraishi is now the same as the teacher and me, Nakashinobu, and although I don't want to admit it, I am indeed not Aoki's opponent. He's stronger than me. Wow. After hearing Nakashinobu's words, the three Shimoshinobu looked at Shiraishi, and their eyes brightened. Shiraishi stood by the stream and looked at Mizuki and the three. What are you still stunned for? Come on. Mizuki and Irika looked a little embarrassed. These things, they are now at this age, feel very shameful. Sajui on the side didn't have much thought. Shiraishi said whatever he wanted, he would do. This was Danzo's order to Sai. Therefore, Shiraishi received almost no feedback from Sai's body. But Shiraishi knew that Sajui could be arranged by Danzo, so Shiraishi did not refuse Sai's joining. Shiraishi also wants to stay in Konoha for a while. Captain, aren't you together? Sajui noticed that Shiraishi did not follow, but sat next to him. Mizuki and Irika looked at Shiraishi. In the eyes of the two, there was a faint expectation, looking forward to Shiraishi together. Nonsense, what am I going to do? Shiraishi said, I'm the captain, can't you handle such a thing well, and you still need me, the captain, to personally take action? But the captain on the other side is also doing it. Sajui gestured to the leader of the opposite squad. That's because those shinobi are too weak and need a demonstration. You won't tell me, you are as weak as them. Do you need me to demonstrate such a simple thing? Stop talking, hurry up and get to work, complete the task. Shiraishi got his wish and gained a lot of talent points from Mizuki. Irika a little less. Sajui didn't. But this talent point income situation has already satisfied Shiraishi. This Mizuki is indeed a good tool man. Well, it seems that the next step can continue. Shiraishi made a decision. So for the next period of time, Shiraishi has been taking this simple task. Picking up garbage, weeding, looking for lost dogs and cats, shoveling horse manure. And let others see. Shiraishi found that the more people he saw, the more talent points he received from Mizuki and Irika. Hokage building. Tuanzang's expression was very strange. Picking up trash? Shoveling horse manure? Looking for dogs and cats? Shiraishi, they have been doing these tasks for most of the month? Yes. The dark ninja nodded. What does this guy want to do? A simple addiction to the captain? Okay, go down, you don't have to look at Shiraishi's side. Tuanzo waved his hand. Yes. On the other side, Yamanaka gritted his teeth fiercely. This white stone is too cunning, and he actually used this method to dispel the doubts of Master Tuanzang. No face. Play the fool, humph, one is not good, you will become a real fool. Shiraishi sneezed. Who is saying bad things about me behind my back? Is Shiraishi playing the fool? Of course not. These days, Shiraishi has harvested many more talent points than before. Close your eyes. A skill tree came to Shiraishi's mind. Talent points remaining, 2037. Most of these are provided by Mizuki. However, Shiraishi also plans to stop receiving these tasks first. Because Mizuki has become a little numb, the talent points for feedback have decreased a lot. Evening. The mission ended and the four dispersed. Sajui went back to his apartment. Shiraishi went back to his yard. Irika, on the other hand, came to a Chiraka ramen shop. Mizuki hesitated and followed in. The two sat in a row. Irika glanced at Mizuki. The two fell silent. Long. Irika spoke. The two of us haven't sat together like this in a long time, have we? I'm sorry, Irika. Forget it. Irika interrupted Mizuki and said, it's all gone, now we're all members of the same squad, let's not mention the previous things, look forward. Okay, look ahead. Mizuki nodded, relieved, and said, Irika, what do you think is the purpose of the captain taking on so many simple D-level tasks? Could it just be trying to tease us? Recalling the experience of this half-month, those mocking eyes, Mizuki was very unwilling. Episode 143, Irika also felt uncomfortable. However, Irika's thinking is somewhat different from Mizuki. This is the essential difference between the two. Once Mizuki encounters something, he thinks whether it will harm his own interests, whether someone is deliberately harming himself, and the whole paranoia of being killed. Irika, on the other hand, will think in a better direction. Maybe this is a test for us by Shiraishi. Irika said, I've been a teacher for many years, Mizuki, your words. In short, the two of us are actually far away from ordinary ninjas. Shiraishi may be doing this to let us find our original intention. Initial intention? Mizuki frowned. Yes, we chose to become ninjas back then, didn't we just want to help everyone solve problems and protect the village? Mizuki lost his mind. The next day. Captain, what is today's task? No task today. No task? Mizuki and the three were stunned for a moment. During this time, Shiraishi will take the task almost every day. That's right, don't do tasks today, those tasks, you have done almost the same, come to train today, your strength is too weak, you have to improve some. Captain. Mizuki retorted, our strength is indeed much weaker than you, but compared to our squad at the same level, the strength of several of us is not weak. Me and Irika, the middle and upper ranks among the middle ninja. And Sai's ability is very special, even if it faces Nakashinobu, it can at least support it for a while. Shiraishi interrupted Mizuki. To do it, you have to do it the best. In this way, I'll find you a squad for sparring. Shiraishi clapped his hands to the other side. A few figures walked in. Nara Shikamaru, Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akimichi. A new generation of pig deer butterfly. Irika's expression became embarrassed. Because Shikamaru and the three are all Irika's students. Irika-sensei. Shikamaru, Ino, Dingji, hello. Shiraishi gained a few more talent points from Irika. Shikamaru, are you ready? Ready. Good, let's get started. Shiraishi stood right in the center of the training ground. Now that both sides are ready, let's start. 3v3 competition, officially begin. With Shiraishi's order. There were 6 people on the field, all of them were waiting for the battle. Even now, Shikamaru and the three are just shinobi. Mizuki and Irika are both Nakashinobi. But Shiraishi didn't think that the three of Mizuki had won. Because in another parallel world, Shikamaru has already been promoted to Nakashinobi. He also defeated the Otoshinobu 4. Can Mizuki and Irika defeat the Otoshinobu 4? Obviously not. After all, even Mori Hibiki and Gongzi Iron can't do it. Mizuki and Irika are deteriorated versions of Mori Hibiki and Genkote. Without any special abilities. According to Shiraishi's judgment, the chances of Shikamaru winning are even greater. Dingsi, you stand in the way. Ino, you control the one we don't know. I'll do the rest. Shikamaru made the arrangement. Yes. Mizuki looked at Shikamaru and the three, a little disdainful. 3 lower patience. As soon as he finished speaking, Sajui threw himself on the ground. Heart-turning technique. Ino's soul entered Sai's body. Mizuki's face changed. Multiplication technique. Dingji's size became huge, like a giant, standing in front of Mizuki and Irika. Mizuki and Irika looked at each other. On both sides. Solve Shikamaru first. The two stepped on their feet. One from the left and one from the right. But at this time. Phew. More than a dozen shurikens, breaking through the air. Mizuki and Irika had to force a stop. Shadow bondage. A pitch-black cloud stretched from Shikamaru's feet towards Mizuki's feet. Immediately, Mizuki's figure could not move. Dingsi, it's now. Okay, look at me. Dingji looked at Mizuki. Meat bomb chariot. Dingji rolled fiercely towards Mizuki. Mizuki's eyes widened sharply. Struggled, but to no avail. Irika wanted support, but it was too late. Bang! Mizuki flew out upside down and landed heavily on the ground. Solve 1. Shikamaru and Tenji's gaze looked at Irika at the same time. Irika-sensei, please advise. Irika glanced at Mizuki, who had fallen to the ground, retracted his gaze, and a wry smile appeared on his face. Shikamaru, Dingji, come on. But at this point in the battle, there is no suspense. Irika alone cannot be the opponent of Shikamaru and Dingji. Strategically, in ninjutsu, Irika has no advantage. Winner, Shikamaru squad. Shiraishi announced the results. Irika couldn't help but shake his head. Careless. Mizuki was unwilling. If we do it again, we will definitely not lose. Sai's face was expressionless. Ino and Dingji laughed happily. The three of them actually defeated 2 middle ninja and 1 lower ninja. No matter how you look at it, it's a happy thing. It shows that the strength of the three of them has improved a lot compared to the graduation exam. Shikamaru had a calm expression. This result did not surprise Shikamaru. Mizuki and Irika are indeed Nakashinobi, but they are too ordinary. And Shikamaru's side, with the technique of heart turning, can directly solve one. His own shadow binding technique can also be controlled at medium and long distances. There is also Ding Si's multiplication technique. The attack power is so strong, even the middle ninja is difficult to block. Even more because of the three of them, they have been prepared. This is particularly important. Mizuki, you're too weak. Baisher shook his head and said, if it weren't for the fact that you lost too quickly, even if you did, you wouldn't have lost so fast. Mizuki. A wave of resentment involuntarily rose. That's what they were targeting me. Then you think, why don't they target other people? Mizuki was angry, really angry, and countless excuses for justification appeared in Mizuki's mind, but because he lost, these excuses seemed so pale and weak. Shikamaru, you're in trouble. You're welcome. Shikamaru paused and said, that's fine, we'll go first. Good. After Shikamaru and the three left, Irika said, Captain, you can't blame Mizuki alone just now. The three of us didn't behave well. If Shikamaru used the shadow binding technique against me, the result would be the same. Well, you're right. Shiraishi nodded. So you're all too weak. Irika. This is true, but listening to it, Irika is still a little unconvinced. After all, Irika lost to no one else, but to Shikamaru 3. A year ago, Shikamaru was a student of Irika. So, in order to improve your strength, I have prepared a special training for you. Episode 144, Special Training? That's right, the current strength of the three of you, as my team members, is too bad. Shiraishi said, so I commissioned someone to train you guys. What special training? You'll find out tomorrow. The next day, Irika, Mizuki, Sai, and the three arrived at the training ground very early. The sun is just drifting over the horizon. For a moment, Irika and Mizuki felt like they had just graduated from the ninja school. Hey ha! Hey ha! Hey ha! Hearing this, Irika and Mizuki suddenly had a bad premonition. A figure entered the sight of the three people. Green tights, watermelon head. A thought flashed through Irika and Mizuki's mind at the same time. Shouldn't this guy be allowed to train us? Baisher walked in from behind Shaoli. This is Rock Lee, the special training teacher I found for you, Mizuki, Irika. Through yesterday's competition, you can clearly see that your foundation has been abandoned. If you want to get stronger, then pick it up again. Shaoli, in the next month, they will be handed over to you. Don't worry about it, give me hard training. Shaoli nodded heavily. Shiraishi, don't worry, I will definitely be very attentive. I will accompany them to practice together. Immediately, Shaoli threw 3 sets of green tights over. Sai, Mizuki-senpai, Irika-sensei, please wear this training suit. We will do a lot of training later. Ordinary clothes will hinder the body. The 3 stared at the green tights and fell silent. This time even included Sajui. What are you still stunned for? Change your clothes, listen to Shaoli. Mizuki and the 3 could only silently pick up their clothes and walk to the side to change. After a while, the 3 of them changed their clothes and came over. Not bad, very spirited. Mizuki trio. No EQ event trigger, talent plus 39. A thick resentment shrouded the 3 of them. The green tights made Mizuki feel as if they were not themselves. Such clothes will definitely be laughed at when you wear them. Mizuki vaguely remembers that he has mocked the appearance of Matt Kai and Shaoli many times. The result is now. There is reincarnation in the way of heaven, and the heavens spare anyone. Such an order actually fell on himself. I even put on such a green tights. Mizuki can imagine how others laugh at themselves when they see him like this. That sharp laughter made Mizuki want to die. Irika was slightly better, but he also thought the dress was ugly. Sai's rare resentment was a little deeper than Irika's. This guy Shiraishi must have done it on purpose. Mizuki couldn't stop looking at Shiraishi. Mizuki felt like he was going crazy. Shaoli, it's time to start. Shiraishi reminded. Good. Immediately, Shaoli looked at the 3 of Mizuki and said, please come with me, let's do some simple warm-up exercises first, run around and run him 10 laps first. Mizuki sane. Shiraishi looked at the disappearing backs of the 4 people, saw the rising talent points, and nodded with satisfaction. I should have thought of this method a long time ago, and the talent points of Mizuki's feedback have become more numerous. Irika also gave a lot of feedback. More importantly, Sai, this guy was almost hairless before, and now he is finally starting to loosen. Shiraishi closed his eyes. A skill tree comes to mind. Beside. Remaining talent points, 3,026. It's still 7,000 short. Shiraishi's goal is to collect 10,000 talent points and break the second stage limiter, so that Shiraishi can be sure to deal with the enemies that may appear next. For example, what Nagato, large barrel wood, and so on. Shiraishi walked out of the training ground. A figure entered Shiraishi's line of sight. Sunset Red Sr. It's Shiraishi. Sunset Hong glanced back at Shiraishi, her face was a little red, as if she had just drunk. Senior Hong, what's wrong with you? Met a scumbag? Sunset Red. No, one of my students had a problem. Students? Shiraishi said, is it in Izuka that this guy is fighting with the ninja cat in the village again? Or did Shino use bugs to peek at the bathhouse? Or did Hinata develop some new dark weapon? Sunset Red was crying and laughing. No, it's my other student. A dissatisfied voice sounded. Shiraishi, why are you staining people's innocence out of thin air? When did I fight with the ninja cat in the village? Inuzuka came out from the side. That's right. Next to him, Shino said, I don't do that kind of tasteless thing. I also didn't develop a dark device, Hinata said with a slightly red face. Hey, the last time I saw it with my own eyes, Inuzuka, yeah, you took Akamaru to fight with the ninja cat in the village, and you lost. No, how could I lose? I just let them go. Inuzuka is like a fried puppy. I haven't seen Shino's words, but with your sullen personality, and such a convenient bug, it's not surprising that you would do such a thing. Sunset Red and Hinata glanced at each other, and subconsciously, distanced themselves from Shino. Shino. I really haven't done that. Hinata, you haven't told me until now what that dark weapon was last time. Shiraishi said, we can't be enemies now, tell me, it doesn't really matter. Hinata. Hinata's face was flushed, steam was coming out of her head, and she looked like she was about to faint at any moment. Sunset Red coughed dryly. Shiraishi, speaking of which, you may be able to help with this matter, but I don't know if you have time now. I heard you brought a squad, there is time. Shiraishi said, my squad members are all relatively mature, you all know each other, one is Mizuki, the other is Irika, and the other is Sai. Mizuki? Irika-sensei? Hinata was stunned. That's right. Shiraishi nodded and said, Mizuki was met by accident, Irika-sensei took the initiative to join my squad, and the remaining one was found by Irika-sensei. Irika. Sunset Red knew about Irika's situation and sighed a little. During this time I am asking Shaoli to train them, so I have time. Let Shaoli train them? Hinata's expression suddenly became strange. I couldn't help but imagine that picture. Just at this time, Shaoli brought Irika and the three of them over. 4 green tights. Sunset Red, Hinata. I couldn't help but look over. Episode 145, Shiraishi, Yuri Red Sr., Hinata, yeah, Shino. Shaoli greeted warmly. The expressions of Mizuki, Irika, and Sai became extremely embarrassed in an instant. It's so embarrassing. Mizuki and Sajui forcibly lowered their heads, not looking at the situation on either side at all. Irika-sensei. When Irika heard this, he had to force a smile out of his face. Hinata, yeah, Shino, hello. A large wave of talent points immediately fed back to Shiraishi. Watching Shaoli and the others leave. Sunset Red Sr., what is the matter? Shirihong glanced to the side and said, let's find a quiet place to talk. Hinata, you dispersed first. Yes. Inside the pavilion, there are only 2 people, Sunset Red and Shiraishi. It's a disciple of mine before named Kurama Yakumo. Born in Konoha's ninja family, the Kurama family, this family has a very special blood succession limit, which is an illusion type, which can manipulate the 5 senses and feedback the things in the painting to the real world. But this kid fell into a demonic heart. That monster will control this child and do extremely destructive things. Yakumo has already done something out of line before, Naruto-sama knows about it, he is very angry, and it was under my argument that he decided to give Yakumo another chance. However, as long as Yakumo makes another mistake, then there is only one fate that awaits Yakumo. Death. Sunset Red looked at Shiraishi. Shiraishi, your talent is the strongest among all the people I have ever met, that monster, only illusion can kill to death, I can't solve it, but you should have no problem. Illusion, I will only have a Narakumi technique now. I can teach you. Shiraishi hesitated. What's wrong, what's the problem? Sunset Hong saw Shiraishi's hesitation, and he didn't understand it. These illusions, but their own treasures, others want to learn it has not had a chance. Shiraishi, it's okay if you don't want to help, I know it's too much to ask. Nope. Shiraishi waved his hand and said, I can help with this. Something about Kurama Yakumo, Shiraishi remembers. It's not just an Ito. Shiraishi didn't feel like he couldn't solve it. And even if it can't be solved, Shiraishi waited for someone and directly refused. But when I went, I was able to see a Kurama Yakumo. Shiraishi has one more chance to earn talent points. But if you have illusions, I only need to learn one, and you will teach me the most powerful one in Sunset Red. The most powerful one to learn directly? Sunset was stunned for a moment. That's right. Shiraishi nodded and said, actually, it's all about the same. For me, the difficulty makes no difference. Whether it's ninjutsu or illusion, learning garbage is a waste of time. Sunset Red. Okay, then I'll teach you the strongest illusion art I have mastered, Peerless Lotus. Sunset Red explained the steps of the illusion to Shiraishi in detail. If the illusion is successfully used, a huge lotus flower will appear to trap the opponent in the lotus, and with the closure of the lotus petals, it can cause huge damage to the enemy. I see. Okay, then Shiraishi, you can try it. To Sunset Red Senior you? Well, use it on me. Then Sunset Red Senior, you are careful. Shiraishi began to seal the mark. Peerless Lotus. The next moment. Sunset Hong felt that the scene in front of her suddenly changed. A lotus flower appeared all around him. Wrap yourself firmly. Is this falling into Shiraishi's illusion? Sunset Red realized immediately. Solution. Sunset Hong observed it and quickly used the method of lifting the illusion. But the next moment, something that surprised Sunset Hong happened. That is, this illusion could not be solved by itself. Suddenly, the sunset was anxious. Can't even untie it? What should I do about this? Seeing the petals of the lotus closed one after another, Sunset Hong was very anxious. Give me more time. Not enough time. Suddenly. Bang. It was as if there had been an explosion. Poof. Sunset Red spewed out a mouthful of blood. When I opened my eyes and looked at the white stone on the opposite side, my eyes were very complicated. One aspect is that he envies Shiraishi's talent, Peerless Lotus, which he has developed for a long time, is very powerful, extremely difficult, ordinary ninjas, difficult to learn. But Shiraishi, just once, learned. And I learned very well. Sunset Hong felt that the Peerless Lotus Hua used by Shiraishi was even better than the one she used. That's a lot of concern. The inventor himself is not as good as Shiraishi, who has only learned it once. People are more angry than people. Sunset Red retracted his thoughts. Shiraishi, you learned. Sunset Red Senior, I'm sorry. Shiraishi looked at the blood at the corner of Sunset Red's mouth and said, I originally thought you would unravel the illusion, but I didn't expect that you didn't have time to unravel your own illusion and make you injured. Sunset Red. No EQ event trigger, talent +6. Sunset Hong felt like she had received a double whammy. He was injured because of Shiraishi's illusion. And he was hurt because of Shiraishi's words. Oh, yes. His own illusion has not even been solved. Isn't that a joke? But in fact, Sunset Red can still be unraveled. It's just that there is a delay at the beginning, so there is not enough time later. And even so, the Sunset Red Knight avoided most of the damage. If you change to someone else, it won't be as simple as bleeding from the corners of your mouth. Sunset Red smiled bitterly and shook her head. Shiraishi, this is the strongest illusion art I have mastered. When will you have time to accompany me to see Yakumo? Anytime or now? Now? All right, Sunset Hong hesitated and agreed. Come with me. Sunset Red took Shiraishi towards the middle of Konoha. The Kurama family has also had a glorious history. But the blood limit family has such a little shortcoming. That is, if no one awakens the blood succession limit, the family will decline. The upper limit is high, and the lower limit is also low. Not as stable as the occult family. The Kurama family station is now in a rather remote area of Konoha. Very small corner. And Uchiha station is not far behind. A valley appeared in the sight of the two. Arrived. A ninja walked out from the side. Lord Sunset Red. Sunset nodded. This is Shiraishi. How is Yakumo doing? Not very stable. I'll go in and see her. Yes. Ninja, get out of the way. Sunset Red gestured to Shiraishi. Let's go inside. Episode 146. The two walked into the courtyard. Through the window, I saw a figure. A young girl sitting on a chair, with a drawing board in front of her. The girl's face was gloomy, and she was drawing something terrifying on the drawing board. How? Sunset Hong looked at Shiraishi and asked in a low voice. It's not pretty. Sunset Red. Who asked you this? Besides, Yakumo is not bad. No, I'm asking what do you think of Yakumo's state? This one. Baisher pondered for a while and said, a bit of a psychopath. Sunset Red's face darkened. It's because Yakumo has a heart demon in his heart, that's why it's like this. Hopefully we can help Yakumo solve this problem. Shiraishi interrupted Sunset Red. Senior Sunset Hong, after talking about the heart demon for so long, what is going on? The birth of the heart demon must have a beginning, and it is impossible to give birth to the heart demon for no reason. It's Yakumo's parents. Sunset Hong said, the blood stain limit of the Kurama family is more special, and it will have some side effects. Yakumo was in the process of awakening the blood succession limit, unable to control his power, and his power was out of control, creating extremely strong illusions and harming people nearby. The first to bear the brunt is Yakumo's parents. Died in the fire due to the side effects of Yakumo's blood succession limit. Shiraishi frowned. It's a disaster star. Shiraishi, don't say that, that's not Yakumo's intention. It meant to be a murderer. Shiraishi looked inside and said, so, how did you deal with it after that? The Kurama family hid the news from Yakumo, and what Yakumo knew was that his parents died in an accidental fire, and he thought that this would keep Yakumo from having a psychological shadow. I didn't expect it to happen. Shiraishi shook his head. Not only a disaster star, but also psychologically extreme. Sunset Red. Shiraishi said, I think that since Kurama Yakumo has a heart demon when he doesn't know the real thing, then it's better to simply let Kurama Yakumo know the real situation. With that, Shiraishi pushed open the door. Wait, Shiraishi, what do you want to do? Sunset Red pupils shrank, but it was too late to stop it. Bang! Shiraishi pushed open the door. Kurama Yakumo heard the voice and immediately looked over. Shiraishi, Kurama Yakumo has never seen. What are you? What do you want to do to me again? Shiraishi waved his hand and said, don't worry, I'm not interested in ugly women, I came here mainly to help you solve the problem of your heart demons in the face of the senior Sunset Red. Teacher Sunset Hong? Sunset Red had to follow Shiraishi inside. Yakumo. Sunset Red came to Shiraishi and lowered her voice. Shiraishi, don't irritate Yakumo. Shiraishi didn't listen to the Sunset Red. What about your inner demon, show it to me. Kurama Yakumo. I don't have a demons. Kurama Yakumo looked up at Sunset Red and said, I don't know what Sunset Red Sensei said to you, but I don't have a heart demon. Sunset Red Sensei, if there is nothing wrong, please take this person away, don't bother me painting. Kurama Yakumo's face turned cold. Yakumo, I'm sorry. Sunset Hong patted Shiraishi's shoulder and said, Shiraishi, let's go. Shiraishi shook his head and refused Sunset Red. Senior Sunset Hong, such an escape can't solve the problem, no wonder you knew before that this guy had a heart demon in his heart, but he always couldn't solve it. Escaping will only make that inner demon stronger. Kurama Yakumo. Shiraishi turned to Kurama Yakumo. How do you think your parents died? Assassinated by someone else? Wrong. Your parents were killed by you. Kurama Yakumo's pupils shrank suddenly. No way, you're lying. I'm lying, what's the good? Shiraishi glanced at Kurama Yakumo and said, I'm not like Sunset Red Sr., I will consider your feelings, get used to you, who did it, tell the truth, there is nothing bad, I'm a person who doesn't like lying the most. Your parents died in your blood succession limit. That fire was put by your blood succession limit. Kurama Yakumo's eyes turned red. Impossible. That's the truth. Shiraishi said, Kurama Yakumo, seriously, I don't think you really have no memory at all, such a scene, deep in the bottom of my heart, must still have an impression, you just convinced yourself not to think about it. You just don't dare to admit it. Kurama Yakumo held his head vigorously. No, it's not like this, it's not like this. Suddenly, a furious force was released from Kurama Yakumo's body and spread out in all directions, and the entire area was wrapped in this force. Shiraishi, Sunset Red, and the Naka Shinobu who was in charge of guarding outside. The surrounding scene changed. Shiraishi and Sunset Red have already been expected. This is caused by Kurama Yakumo's blood succession limit, in other words, entering the illusion realm. And the Zongnan outside was very confused. What's wrong with this? I'm dead? I don't feel it. It became a purgatory-like existence, the cave was winding and rugged, the magma was constantly flowing, and bubbles with a strong sulfur smell burst in midair. Sunset Red Sr., in the fantasy realm, is it only illusion that is useful? Sunset nodded. In principle, that's the case. Shiraishi. This time you were really impulsive. Shiraishi shook his head. I think that the reason why this Kurama Yakumo gave birth to such a strong heart demon is what you are used to, and in this world, she is not the only one who has suffered miserably. Is it necessary to hide it like this? Naruto, Sasuke, which is not miserable. Sunset Red fell silent. Kurama Yakumo, get out. Shiraishi shouted at a cave. The Naka Shinobu outside heard Shiraishi's voice and hurried over. Lord Sunset Red. You were also involved? A hint of apology appeared on Sunset Red's face. Lord Sunset Hong, where is this? It's Yakumo's phantom territory. Naka Shinobu seemed to have thought of something, and his face became ugly. Since he took the job, Naka Shinobu knows Kurama Yakumo. This is a blood succession limit that even Shang Shinobu can easily kill. Kurama Yakumo's parents, both of whom are upper shinobi. Boom. Duh. Duh. There was a sound of footsteps in the cave. Episode 147. Kurama Yakumo's figure walked out of the cave and looked at Shiraishi with a hint of resentment in his eyes. You're lying. You don't believe me, you can, but you ask Senior Sunset Hong, is what I said true? Kurama Yakumo looked at Sunset Red. Sunset Red sighed. Yakumo, your parents did die in your blood succession limit, but that's not your fault. Kurama Yakumo's face turned pale. No, it's not. You're all lying. You're all lying to me. Liar, I'm going to kill you. Kurama Yakumo's voice suddenly became rough, as if she had suddenly changed from a girl to a strong man. A strange mass of power floated out from Kurama Yakumo's body. Condensed into a clump. Constant deformation, distortion. Finally, a monster resembling a humanoid appeared. Bang! Kurama Yakumo fell to the ground. That's right, it was me who killed them. But so what? Not only them, but now that you have entered here, you must also die. The monster looked at the three of Shiraishi and revealed a hideous smile. Hey, that Kurama Yakumo, now you understand? Kurama Yakumo on the ground looked at the monster, his eyes only showed horror, and some pictures slowly surfaced in Kurama Yakumo's mind, and Kurama Yakumo's face became more and more pale. Bite your lip tightly. You killed my parents. No, 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 it's you. The monster grinned. I am you, you are me. The two of us are one. Shiraishi picked up a stone from the ground and smashed it at the monster. Direct penetration. No real damage to the monsters. The monster's face turned cold, and he stared back at Shiraishi. It really didn't work. Then taste this. Shiraishi quickly seals. Narakumi no Jutsu. The next moment, a black mist wrapped around the monster. The monster snorted coldly. This level of illusion also wants to deal with me? It was to see the monster open its mouth and vomit. A cloud of mist appeared, colliding with the black fog. Two-phase elimination. The monster looked up at the three of Shiraishi. Since you can't wait to ask for death, then I will fulfill you. Click. The ground shattered. In the cracks, the magma kept rolling out. This is the world of monsters. It's the world of illusion. And this illusion is another 5 sense type of illusion. That means that as long as you are injured in the illusion, then the injury will be fed back into the real world. Tree binding kill. The Sunset Red moved. A large tree appeared behind the monster. The branches wrapped around the monster. Bind the monster. The force is getting stronger and tighter, and the contraction is getting tighter. If the monster is not strong enough, then it will be strangled alive. Unfortunately, the power of the monster is very strong. Stronger than Sunset Red. Bang! When I saw the monster's figure tremble, the Sunset Red tree suddenly exploded. I said it, it's useless. The Sunset Red did not stop. Peerless Lotus. A lotus flower appeared at the foot of the monster, and the petals kept closing. Childish. The monster snorted coldly. Bang! Suddenly, the lotus burst. Sunset Red has received a strong counterattack. Poof! A mouthful of blood spurted out. Before eating Baishur Peerless Lotus Hua, the state of Sunset Red was not very good, and now it was subjected to such a strong counterattack, and it was suddenly even more unsustainable. It's useless. Here, I am the king. But at this moment, a larger lotus flower appeared at the feet of the monster. This time, it was Shiraishi's Peerless Lotus. Wang Beg? The monster's face turned cold. The lotus exploded. Sunset Red's illusion is close to perfection, but there are still flaws, so monsters can seize these flaws, destroy Sunset Red's illusion, and eat Sunset Red. But Shiraishi's illusion is perfect. The monster can only withstand it. A wound appeared on the monster's body. The monster looked at Shiraishi with a hint of vigilance in his eyes. I didn't expect you to have such a strong illusion attainment. Very good. However, if you want to defeat me, it is impossible. Sunset Red looked at Kurama Yakumo on the ground. Yakumo, this monster, only you can kill. Get strong. Yakumo, the things of the past have passed. This monster is not you. Your parents were killed by him. Stand up. Kurama Yakumo didn't react much. Shiraishi shook his head. Waste, stand up. Aren't you fierce? Bump into this monster? You really can't. It's ugly, my body is not good, and I bully the soft and fear the hard. This ghost look, you can't marry for the rest of your life. Kurama Yakumo stared at Shiraishi deadly, fire burning in his eyes. Gritting his teeth, he struggled to stand up. The monster stared at Kurama Yakumo, his eyes narrowed slightly. I am you, you are me, kill me, you will lose all your power. Are you sure you really want this? Besides, you think you can kill me? My power is much stronger than yours. I just don't want to kill you. Because if you die, I will die too. But I can trap you here forever. Are you sure you really want to go against me? Kurama Yakumo hesitated again. Shiraishi couldn't help but look at the setting sun. Senior Sunset Hong, you disciple, you are really a piece of ironclad waste. Worse than Sakura. Sunset Hong's face also showed a hint of helplessness. But only Yakumo can kill this monster. We can't kill him even if it causes him great damage. But he was able to recover very quickly. The damage inflicted on the monster by Shiraishi's Peerless Lotus has now completely disappeared. It's not my style to pin my hopes on a waist. Shiraishi closed his eyes. Shiraishi, what are you going to do? Do what? Find a way to defeat this monster, of course. For Shiraishi, it is to advance the illusion of Peerless Lotus. Consume 1,000 talent points. A skill tree came to Shiraishi's mind. Shiraishi's thoughts moved. 1,000 talent points disappear. A burst of power fell on the 3 words of Juelianhua. Afterwards, the text above began to change. Senbonrin. Shiraishi opened his eyes. Scatter, Senbenrin. A lotus flower appeared above the monster. After that, it suddenly shattered into innumerable, tiny fragments. One by one, it reflects the light, like countless petals. The monster looks up. That's it? The next moment, the monster's face changed suddenly. Because the monster felt a sharp tingling pain on his body. Episode 148, What? The monster's eyes widened. I don't believe that only that waste can kill you. Just now, my Peerless Lotus let you get hurt. It takes time to recover, which means that my attack can also cause substantial damage to you. Baishir said lightly, 1 hit can't kill you, then come 10 hits, 100 hits, 1,000 hits, 10,000 hits, until you can't recover at all, die. Countless fragments fell, surrounding the monster, constantly spinning. Knife by knife, cut on the monster's body. Blood flowed from the monster's body. There are more and more wounds. The recovery of monster injuries is becoming more and more difficult. Nope. A look of panic appeared on the monster's face. Impossible. Here, I am the king. Why can you hurt me? Unreasonable. Shiraishi looked at the monster. No one could hurt you before, just because they were too weak. And I, very strong. That's enough. The monster's eyes widened, revealing a thick unwillingness. Sunset Hong also widened her eyes, looking at the scene in front of her, revealing an expression of disbelief. One is that Shiraishi can actually hurt that monster to this extent. The other is that the illusion that Shiraishi is using now has never been seen by Sunset Red. Didn't Shiraishi say that he would only be able to see the art of Narukami? What kind of illusion is this? It's obviously much stronger than Peerless Lotus. Kurama Yakumo looked at the wailing monster and fell into a daze. Poof. One of the monster's arms was completely shattered and cut into pieces, making it impossible to recover. Blood dripping. A puff of black smoke rose. The monster's face showed horror. Now the monster is really aware that Shiraishi may be able to kill him. Save me. I am you, you are me. If I die, so will you. The monster looked at Kurama Yakumo and called for help. Kurama Yakumo hesitated. The monster's eyes lit up when he saw Kurama Yakumo's hesitation. Save me. Kurama Yakumo raised his head. Save you? You killed my parents and still want me to save you? If you really were me, why would you do such a thing? The monster was stunned. Kurama Yakumo continued to question, if I die, you will definitely die, but if you die, I will not necessarily die, otherwise you would not have been so afraid of me to kill you just now, so, this makes me even more conclude that you are not me at all. You're just parasitic in my body, a monster. Kurama Yakumo's face showed a fierceness. Even if you die, I will die with you, then I will not regret it. I won't save you. Never. More lotus fragments wrapped the monster, a piercing cutting sound sounded, and the skin and flesh of the monster were cracked inch by inch, and the bones inside could be clearly seen. That sound was the rubbing of fragments and bones. Nope. Shiraishi stretched out his fist and clenched it sharply. Suddenly, countless fragments contracted. Bang! An explosion sounded. The lotus fragment disappeared, along with the fragment, and the monster. Disappeared. Clean, not left. It's like it never existed. The surrounding scene gradually faded and faded. Everyone returned to the previous room. Nakashinobu stood outside the door. Kurama Yakumo was still sitting in a chair. Sunset Red and Shiraishi stand together. That's it, it's over? Sunset Hong felt a little incredible. After the monster appeared, Sunset Hong even felt a little desperate, because she couldn't kill the monster, she could only be killed by the monster. The only hope is that Kurama Yakumo can become strong and kill the monster. But what Sunset Red didn't expect was Kurama Yakumo, after all, is still unreliable. It was Shiraishi who solved the monster. Shiraishi took out an illusion that Sunset Red had never seen before. Shiraishi, what was that just now? It's Peerless Lotus. Shiraishi said, this illusion can be used against ordinary people, but it is still a lot worse against that monster, so I improved that illusion and became what it was afterward. Improved illusion? Sunset's red eyes widened. This is not an easy task, and more importantly, time. Shiraishi learned to be extremely Lotus, but it was just a matter of time. In such a short time, the absolute Lotus Hua was improved? And the improvement effect is so good? Sunset Red thought it was incredible. Shiraishi, can you talk to me? Shiraishi stared at Sunset Red warily. Sunset Red Sr., white is not a good habit. Huh? It's true that Peerless Lotus is what you taught me by Sunset Red Sr., but this is because I promised Sunset Red Sr. that I would help solve Kurama Yakumo's problem, and this improved illusion technique is my own. It's not impossible for you to teach Sunset Red Sr., but Sunset Red Sr., you should give something equivalent. Sunset Red nodded. Shiraishi, you're right, I'm anxious. A touch of red faded from the red of the sunset and the roots of the ears. What Shiraishi said made Sunset Hong think of ambiguity. I overthought it. Hearing the words behind Shiraishi, Sunset Hong knew that she was thinking wrong. What do you want from Shiraishi? Shiraishi pondered for a moment. Senior Sunset Red, you don't seem to have anything in your hands to take your hands on. Sunset Red. Forget it, just invite me to dinner, this illusion, at least 10 seafood meals can compensate. 10 seafood dinners? No problem, good. Shiraishi told Sunset Hong the details of Senbon Lotus in detail. Sunset Red understood. But Shirihong found that she couldn't learn it. Everything is known for yourself. However, he could not meet the conditions for using Senbenlian. Chakra's lack of control. Not even the amount of chakra is enough. This made Shirihong couldn't help but laugh bitterly. I can't use it, I didn't expect Shiraishi's control over chakra to be so strong. Now Sunset Red knows why Shiraishi can learn ninjutsu and illusion so quickly. Because Shiraishi's control over chakra is too strong. For other ninjas, chakra is equivalent to a tool in their hands. And for Shiraishi, that's directly the hand. Senior Sunset Hong, what you mean by saying this is that you don't want to settle the account, right? Sunset Red. No, absolutely not, say 10 tons, that is 10 tons, not one meal will be less. Shiraishi nodded. That's good. Immediately, Shiraishi turned his gaze to Kurama Yakumo. I didn't expect you to have such observation and determination in the end. It seems that I was wrong about your judgment before. You're not a complete trash. Episode 149, Kurama Yakumo stared up at Shiraishi and looked around. What happened just now made Kurama Yakumo fully understand that the conspiracy theories he conceived in his heart were all wrong, and it was the monster just now that really caused the death of his parents. In a sense, it's also their own fault. Thank you. Xie doesn't need to, it's just a deal between me and Senior Zirihong. Baisher waved his hand and said, I want to thank you, just thank Sunset Red Sr., teacher, I. Sunset Red smiled. Needless to say, the past has passed, and we will live well in the future. Senior Sunset Hong, if there is nothing to do, I will leave first. Good. Shiraishi's mood was not too high. I thought that this time, I would be able to get a lot of talent points from Kurama Yakumo's body, but I didn't expect Kurama Yakumo to be very wasted in terms of providing talent points. Not as good as the monster in its body. And in order to kill that monster, Shiraishi had to advance to the Peerless Lotus, consuming 1,000 talent points. One comes and goes, which is equivalent to a loss of 800. The only good thing is that Senbonman's illusion technique is strong enough to kill the monster in Kurama Yakumo's body, so that Shiraishi will not suffer a loss in illusion when facing Uchiha Itachi. 4 figures entered Shiraishi's line of sight. Kori, Mizuki, Irika, Sai. If there is no accident, Shiraishi has gained a lot of talent points from the Mizuki 3. Especially Mizuki. This made Shiraishi feel very relieved. It's still Mizuki reliable. Night. Sajui goes home alone. Mizuki and Irika arrive at the yakiniku restaurant, eating yakiniku and drinking alcohol at the same time. The thought of the daytime scene made Mizuki's teeth itch with anger. The look in those people's eyes made Mizuki never forget for the rest of his life. What a shame. Performing that kind of D-level ninja mission before had already caused Mizuki to suffer enough contempt and ridicule. Now he is wearing a green tights and training with Shaoli. What is this? Then let's not talk about ugliness. But who is Shaoli? It's a subordinate forbearance. I am a good man. What is the matter that a middle ninja actually trains with a lower ninja? Could it be that he is not as good as a middle forbearance? Irika, do you still think that Shiraishi is doing it for our own good? He just teased us and let us train with Shaoli? At least it has to be Shaoli's teacher, Matt Kai. Irika hesitated. Now that Konoha is the time to hire people, Kai-senpai, as a superior shinobi, must be very busy. But it can't be Shaoli. Shaoli is just a lower shinobi. Let us train with the lower shinobi. Isn't this putting our faces on the fire and roasting? Didn't you hear the laughter of those people? Irika was equally ashamed. Yes, that's right. But Mizuki, Shaoli is indeed stronger than us in this regard, isn't it? We are on the verge of physical exhaustion today, but Shaoli is still in good shape. Mizuki stalks his neck. It's just physical strength, not strength. Irika smiled and didn't speak again. At this moment, Irika felt as if he had returned to the scene when he was at the ninja school, when there were no cracks between himself and Mizuki, and the two were very good friends. Mizuki also quieted down when he saw Irika's expression. Bang bang. Baisher sat in the courtyard. The past 2 days have been idle. Mizuki 3 people are led by Shaoli. Even if Baisher is not nearby, they will continue to provide talent points to Baisher. This is something that makes Shiraishi very gratified. There was a knock on the door. Xiangfos opened the door. You are? I'm Kurama Yakumo, and I'm here to thank Shiraishi specifically. Xiangfos nodded, looked back at Shiraishi, who was sitting in the courtyard with squinting his eyes slightly, and said, Shiraishi, it's a woman named Kurama Yakumo. Do you want to let her in, Kurama Yakumo? Shiraishi frowned and hesitated. Let her in. Yes. Fragrant phosphorus gave way. Kurama Yakumo walked in, holding a gift box in his hand, and after seeing Shiraishi, he went over to Shiraishi's location and placed the gift box on the table in front of Shiraishi. Shiraishi, the other day, thank you. If it weren't for you, I might have done something that I will regret for the rest of my life. These are some small gifts, I hope you can accept them. Shiraishi glanced at the gift box. What is it? Such a direct attitude made Kurama Yakumo stunned for a moment, but soon Kurama Yakumo came back to his senses, because Yuihong had already told her about Shiraishi. In particular, Shiraishi's character is heavily introduced. It's a piece of chakra metal, and a painting of mine. Kurama Yakumo said, I heard Yuhi-sensei say that Shiraishi is not interested in ordinary ninjutsu illusions, because you have mastered very powerful ninjutsu and illusions, but in terms of weapons, Shiraishi, you don't have it yet. But I don't know what Shiraishi likes, so I sent you this piece of metal. You can build your own. Shiraishi came a little interested. But that's just a little. Chakra metal may be more common for ordinary ninjas, but it is not of much use to really powerful ninjas. Asma's short blade and Tamari's iron fan all have chakra metal parts. However, the improvement that ordinary ninja tools can bring is too limited. The really powerful ninja tools, if the 7 people of the ninja knife are like this, or the 6 ninja tools and the like. Thanks. Shiraishi opened the gift box. I glanced at the piece of metal first. It was not very large, it was probably the size of an adult's fist, but in this world, chakra metal was originally quite expensive. The Kurama family is no longer a wealthy family. The decline is terrible. Maybe even the Inuzuka family can't compare. And the Kurama family at its peak, but there are more than a dozen of them in the upper shinobi. Shiraishi looked at the painting again. You drew me? Yes. The drawing is not good, it will make me ugly. Kurama Yakumo. But thank you anyway, I'll put it away for this painting. Well, good. Kurama Yakumo got up and said, it's not early, then Shiraishi, I won't bother you, thank you again, if you need help in the future, I can help, welcome to come to me at any time, goodbye, but just help. Shiraishi said, with your current strength, I can't think of any help you can help. The corner of Kurama Yakumo's eyes twitched. If he hadn't learned about Shiraishi's personality in advance, Kurama Yakumo wouldn't have been able to maintain the smile on his face at all. But even if he understood in advance, Kurama Yakumo couldn't help but complain a few words in his heart. No EQ event trigger, talent +5. Episode 150, the task that Naruto-sama has assigned me? Yes. The Dark Ninja said, currently still in Konoha squad, Naruto-sama said that only your squad can complete this task, time is urgent, please go now, but my players haven't finished training yet. To be honest, Shiraishi didn't want to take on this task. After all, the 3 of Mizuki were in Shaoli's training, and their talents were given a lot. Give them a different environment, where there will be so many talent points. But your team members have agreed. Shiraishi. Seeing that the 3 of Mizuki really came to this side quickly, the faces of the 3 of them were full of joy. Performing tasks, of course, is not a good thing. However, it is good that Shaoli's training can be not carried out. Shiraishi, I have brought the news, please leave as soon as possible. Naruto-sama, I will reply first. Shiraishi looked at Mizuki and felt like he had been backstabbed. Captain, shall we leave now? Who got you to agree? Baisher's tone became cold and said, your training is not over yet, this mission is not dangerous, I don't know, but with your current level, it is still too far to go out to carry out the mission, and you actually took over the task yourself, with me, the captain, behind your back? The three of Mizuki lowered their heads. Not often. Captain, I know you're worried about us. Iruka understood what Shiraishi meant and said, but the ninja's vocation is to carry out tasks, and this is Naruto's mission. For the sake of a few of us, let the captain you go against Naruto-sama, then we will be too sorry for you. We're okay. Even if we really encounter danger during this mission, it is our own life. Shiraishi found that Iruka seemed to have misunderstood. Are you worried about them? Of course not. Obviously because they were unhappy, they took the task behind their backs. This is a big no-no for team management. In addition, Shiraishi did not want to slow down his ability to collect talent points. But things are already like this, and Shiraishi can only push the boat along the water. Be responsible for your own safety. Shiraishi snorted coldly and walked towards the entrance of the village. Mizuki looked at Shiraishi's back, his eyes a little complicated. I didn't expect that the captain would have the idea of colliding with Naruto-sama for us. Probably, staying in such a squad is actually not a very bad thing. Previously, Mizuki was not happy at all about becoming a member of Shiraishi's team. A senior of his own, he turned out to be a member of the junior. After that, Shiraishi's arrangement made Mizuki even more dissatisfied. Perform D-level tasks that only recent graduates of the Shinobi will perform. He followed Shaoli for basic physical training. This made Mizuki feel ashamed. If it weren't for the fact that he was guilty, he would have no choice, and he would not have been able to accept such a thing. Mizuki, let's go. Iruka patted Mizuki's shoulder. Sai's eyes also changed a little. So, this mission is to rescue my AI Luo from Shine Village? Yes. Iruka nodded and said, I heard that some people from the artisan village used my Ailua's disciples as bait to attract my arrow over, and used the trap to capture my arrow. Maybe I want to use my identity as a Julie of the Ailua people to do something. Shiraishi shook his head. Could it be that the people of Shine Village are all dead? Such a big ninja village, even want our Konoha people to save their human pillar force, aren't they afraid that we will take the human pillar force away? Old man Tuanzang is too, this kind of call for help is even agreed. Iruka's face changed. Captain, please don't call Naruto-sama by name. Okay, I see, Hokage. Shiraishi continued, didn't the Sand-Hidden Village invade Konoha before, what does Hokage mean now? Compromise with Sand-Hidden Village, and forget everything before? What a? Naruto-sama must be for the stability of the entire Konoha. Iruka glanced to the side. Captain, let's not continue to discuss this issue, let's think about how to carry out this task first. Shiraishi shrugged and did not speak again. Not long after, a dark ninja returned to the Naruto building and told Danzo what Shiraishi had just said. Huh? Tuanzang's face turned gloomy. I'm not for Konoha yet? Now in the state of Konoha, can you start a war with Sand-Hidden Village? I don't have that strength at all, and when the time comes, everything will be eaten clean by other ninja villages. Okay, you go out first. Yes. The dark ninja disappears. Tuanzang looked out the window, and to Shiraishi, Tuanzang was not so angry. If Shiraishi said so, then there must be many other people who have this idea. Suddenly, Tuanzo sighed. It's hard to be Hokage. When he wasn't a Hokage before, Danzo imagined countless times that if he became a Hokage, he could definitely become a flawless Hokage and do it better than anyone else. But after succeeding to this position, Tuanzang discovered that it was not so simple at all. It is impossible to satisfy everyone yourself. No matter how good it is, there will always be people who will be dissatisfied. Hokage, it's really not an easy job. Sajui, let your bird go, and see how it goes. Yes. Sajui immediately took out the scroll and pen and ink. With the wave of the arm. The next moment, several birds turned into ink appeared in everyone's sight. Vibrate your wings. Soon, the news came back. Sajui looked at the sky. There are 4 enemies in total. In different positions, someone is fighting them. Okay. Shiraishi nodded. There are 4 enemies in total, and there are just 4 of us, so let's split up. I'll go here. After that, Shiraishi picked a bird. Mizuki Irokesa looked at each other and chose where he was going. 2 figures entered Shiraishi's line of sight. One, orange hair, is exactly Temari. The other, also a woman, held 2 swords. The 2 are engaged in a confrontation. Temari fell into a certain downwind. The appearance of Shiraishi immediately attracted the attention of the two. Shiraishi. Temari's eyes lit up. Did Konoha receive our distress letter and come to help us? Shiraishi nodded. That's right. That said. What's your name? Forget it, it's not important. Man, tell me the details, what do they want to do? What is the situation now?